Alrighty.
And
Yes, we are back after a bit of a hiatus.
it was a holiday that nobody else knew about. Well, few people knew about.
Few people. Personal holiday.
But it was awesome.
It was a good weekend.
So now we're back on schedule.
Trying to get back on schedule.
Yeah, we're getting there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
We plan on getting there.
We have been thinking about the future a little bit, and a segment we may be adding will be a Red Dead series, just to get some full thoughts and reactions to it. See what Gil thinks of it.
Well, I have not had the opportunity to actually. I mean, I've seen it in passing, but
Yeah.
haven't had the opportunity to like even sit down and watch it being played.
Yeah.
And so everything I've got about the game, and it's obviously iconic. It has such a huge, I was gonna say cult following, but it's not even a cult following. It's just a huge following because of it. It must be this just huge cultural. I don't know, commentary or something. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, it definitely is a bit. It's got that GTA flair to it, where they are definitely parodying real life and the
Hmm.
idea of it. It's like stylized cowboys. It is not the most realistic cowboy game out there for sure.
Do you think
Um,
it's got a GTA vibe?
oh, it definitely does. It's made by
Hmm.
the same people. You know,
It's just Western version, huh?
yeah. I mean, you could GT horse. You know,
Yeah, but the GTA seems like it rewards, you know, abhorrent behavior,
well,
whereas Red Dead, from what you just, even just on our conversation before we
mhm.
started the stream, you were saying it puts it back in your face. It's like, how you feel about that?
Eventually
You
it
did
does
that,
that.
huh? What kind of person are you?
Well, it leaves you with those moments.
Or maybe
Your
that's not the game doing that. It's just you doing that in your head. Like, what are you trying to
yeah.
say, game? Game's like, I didn't say nothing, man.
Well, there's definitely moments when the game is like in your face. Yeah, like,
Oh,
yo, you're kind of being a bad person right now. But then there's other times where it's
oh, you
not
like
so
being
in your
bad, huh?
face.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Sounds like credit karma.
And I will say Grand Theft Auto doesn't necessarily just reward bad behavior, because if you go ape shit and like start driving like a maniac, you're going to get the cops on you,
What
and
cracks me up is like they encourage you to be bad, and then they're like,
well, it's a sandbox game. It's
"Oh, you're
it's
kind of
the
a
whole
shit
thing
person."
about Grand Theft Auto is that you're, you know, uh in a realistic type of setting,
Yeah,
and you get to have no consequences, no long term consequences. You can like have the cops come after you and you go to jail.
yeah, but
You
it
can
kind
be
of
arrested.
forces you to have a conscience.
Red Dead does.
That's what I mean.
Red Dead tricks you in a way that I think is done really well. Like, a
More
lot of
subtle.
people have tried to make you feel bad for the NPCs you kill,
Mm-hmm.
and make you care about the NPCs and make them feel like real people to draw out empathy in people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think Red Dead does it in a way that no other game does. And it brings up a lot of those interesting things, because that game feels like Westworld more than any other game does. Where, like, the first time you go through it, you're captivated by
That's a
all these
good
characters that
comparison.
feel
What a
alive, right?
great comparison. It
But
was.
then,
I wouldn't have thought of that with Red Dead just because I think of it as a. I am sure that once I see it actually being played, that it will completely change what I had, established in my mind as far as what the game actually is.
yeah,
Um, because my mind is like, fucking cowboys and Indians on a video game.
yeah, just the basics.
Simplified,
Yeah,
just oversimplified in my mind, but with really cool outfits and shit like that. But yeah, GTA is like, come on out. It's free for all. It's like Purge. basically.
Yeah, well,
You
it's
know, just
again,
like
it's a
be as
parody of society. So all the characters are like set dressing more than
well.
anything. The
Yeah.
NPCs are there to make the world feel populated and not like a ghost town. You know, if you're in a city and there's nobody walking around, that doesn't feel, your brain immediately is like, whoa, this is not
You were
right.
talking about
Something is
GPA
wrong.
or
GTA.
GTA, yeah.
Yeah, well, like
But
any game setting, sometimes they do it on purpose. They'll set you in a huge city environment and there's nobody walking around. There's no life at all, and it's haunting
yeah,
feeling. It's
of
that I Am
course.
Legend
It's I
feeling.
know that all NPCs are there to
Well, it is
provide
all set dressing.
atmosphere and an air of realism, but
Yeah,
no matter what, if you're going to have it feel fully real, then you're going to see reactions from the NPCs when
yeah.
you run over them with a car, or
Hmm.
you know what I mean. And I don't know what happens to GTA when that happens, because I've never actually played that game,
Yeah,
which is crazy. Um, but if Red Dead gives, I don't know, it sounds like it might give them a more interactive role in in the actual game, so that it gives the player the opportunity to have a conscience,
yeah,
to not just feel like, oh, I can just be evil and there's no consequences whatsoever. I don't even
yeah,
have to feel bad because I don't, the NPC is not even, squirming and begging for their life, and you know, I don't have to see their face. Doesn't bother me. It's no big deal. I'm just like driving around and being a dick.
hmm.
Whereas Red Dead forces you to, you know, kind of face yourself a little bit.
It definitely makes you face yourself. It definitely doesn't force you anyway to play because you can play it just like Red Dead. You can
Well,
ride
that's what I
around on
mean.
your
Force you to
horse.
play, to face yourself, not play.
Yeah, because I
Excuse
don't
me.
know.
I don't have a
In
cough button. I
Yeah.
didn't think about that. Sorry. I just got like a
Wrong pipe type of
wrong pipe
situation.
thing.
Yeah. Well, in Red or in GTA, they don't really focus on the collateral at all, because you are uh the criminal, the guy that's like out to make money
You're
for
playing a
himself,
role, yeah.
and it's like you can go out of your way to not hit civilians, but it's more of a role play thing at that point, and especially because Rockstar themselves, the people that make these games, Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead, they're really good at making like questionably likable characters. The people you play as, in cutscenes and stuff like that, will generally be pretty nice people that are like, that like don't really see race or
Kind of
like,
like Dexter,
yeah, like
like
honestly, like a pretty
the hooker with the heart of
likable.
gold.
Yeah, exactly. But they're still like brutal killers or drug dealers or fucking,
Yeah,
outlaws, all these things. Like Arthur Morgan, this dude that people like idolize online and that you play as, canonically, he is like one of the deadliest people to have ever walked that time period. He's one of the
right.
best gunslingers out there, and that's you. That's like pretty much up to the player's expression, and it's left to interpretation because
And
it's
that
the Wild
comparison
West.
with Westworld is awesome, because I can see that, because in that in that story, people would go to this um, theme park, and the especially, like, I don't know, the 80s version,
Oh
exactly how in depth
yeah,
it went with this, but in the most recent iteration, they definitely made it where the creator, Anthony Hopkins, man, he did that so fucking well.
yeah,
But almost like insidiously, he was there to like point out the the how the dark side eventually comes out of people when they're given free reign.
yeah.
Right? It's what it feels like. He was just kind of like sitting back smugly and being like, "See, never thought you'd do that, did you?" Because the AI in that lived within the theme park actually thought they were living a real life.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy about that one. And I don't know. I mean, of course, that's when we're talking about Red Dead and comparing it to Westworld. That almost makes it like a dream within a dream type of scenario because you don't
Yeah.
know. We're in Red Dead. They're still NPCs, but
Yes.
we don't know that they actually are experiencing their world. We don't know that because it's a game, right? We
Well,
assume
yeah.
that they don't. We assume that they're nothing. They're just like zeros and ones, and they're at the mercy of us. And yeah, the game makes you face yourself and all that. But in
Well,
a
the way
thing like
this
Westworld,
game,
it actually was a real world creation where a AI was allowed to feel.
yeah, and this is not. That's where I'll definitely draw some lines because
Yeah,
it's not.
between them.
It's like a movie. Props and people. You're the only consistent thing through this world. Everything that you're not around does not exist, right?
Yeah.
If we really think about it to the ones and zeros bits, where again these people aren't real, but the game is very good at whenever you see these people, their mannerisms, their everything, not just in the cutscenes, because the cutscenes. So usually in video games, they'll do the cutscenes separate from the game. So they'll
I
make
have to be honest. I have no. What do you mean?
so a cutscene
Cutscenes.
is when the like camera starts moving in and they start explaining things, right? They
Mm.
start explaining dialogue or something like that, and you see your dude moving around, and it kind of looks like a movie,
Okay.
you know. Um, that's a cutscene. That is like usually a tool to start deloading the last area, start loading up the next area, and it also is an exposition tool. So they'll start using it to give the player information, maybe tell them the next steps of what they're doing and stuff. So in Red Dead, it's built into the game. So they're usually different. Like think of it like an animation, right? Like Toy Story. That's not like a video game, but it's the same tech that they're using for like cutscenes and stuff, where they
Yeah.
pre-render something, an animation that's just in the style of the game and stuff with the characters and stuff, and then they use that, and then you're loaded back into the game. And the gameplay is usually different from the cutscene because it's
Okay.
different technology. So in-game cinematics is when they use the actual game itself for its cutscenes. The camera of the game itself is moving around and just zooming in on the characters and all their animations. So there's no disconnect. You're not watching these characters just walk off screen and then all of a sudden their AI turns off. They go to
Yeah.
bed, they change clothes, they fight with other people after a certain amount of time because they're like
That's
sitting in the
interesting.
camp. They are like they feel real. I cannot. This is why I've always wanted to show this game to you, because it is some of the scariest AI I've ever seen in a
That's
game.
what
Yeah.
Because
is
you don't see ones and
that
zeros.
that
Your brain sees
that
a real
comparison with
person.
Westworld seems even more apt whenever you describe
Yeah,
it like that.
and so it makes me question, because again, it's like a movie. When you walk away from the camp, they disappear. They stop existing. So it's not like an android or an AI where it has to constantly be on and living out its routine, even if the player isn't there.
Right.
Right? If one of their customers is not there to experience the android, do they power them off to save energy and put
Right.
energy into other areas that like where the players, like the people that paid to be there, are at to experience stuff? That's just kind of a side tangent for
In
Westworld.
Westworld, there was multiple iterations of the theme park, right?
Yeah.
There's multiple versions that failed because it would be like that where the the say the NPC would just do nothing once it was not the focus of um just
Yeah.
whoever was observing, whoever was interacting at the time, they would just go into their closet or whatever. But as the AI technology got better, the creator began to realize that they needed they needed to feel like they were doing something, like they were
Yeah.
living. Otherwise, the whole thing fell apart. So it had to not only create a story for the people that came there, to have fun and just lose themselves in the game and just be, completely outrageous. Um, but for the actual AI themselves, the robots, they had to have a life.
Mhm.
So it would create a story, and then that's where the idea of the ghost in the machine
Yeah.
comes into play. There would be remnants of old programs that couldn't be completely erased,
Yeah.
and these characters would start to have, these memories of past lives. It's really trippy.
Yeah.
It's like that story. And so having to create a world for the AI that seems to have a little bit of continuity, um, so that they can stay happy enough to entertain the people, degenerates that were coming in to just take advantage of them,
Mhm.
right? Um, and that right there, just if you let it kind of sink in, is a real mind fuck because I, I don't know. I mean, you I don't think Bing has seen any of Westworld, and I'm not
Probably
trying to take
not.
this into Westworld at
Mhm.
all, but the parallel that you're drawing with that is fascinating because it almost makes you think. I wonder if these NPCs in a game like Red Dead, you know, have a have an independent life that goes on,
It,
whether
it
we're observing or not,
it makes you think about it for sure. Um,
even if it's a loop, that
yeah,
is
it's a
repeating that
moment
they're
in
not
time.
aware
Red
of.
Dead, in Red Dead, all the characters, even like ones that aren't a part of the gang, all the NPCs feel so real that you don't even think about the fact that they're AI. You just look at them and go, "Dang, I just like murdered that guy." Like,
Well, they react to you.
And were you
The
guys playing
random
it like you were
NPC.
playing Red Dead before AI was involved, right?
Oh
They
yeah,
were they
before
were
the
just
big.
oh
yeah.
yeah, it's way
Nah,
before
Did it
that.
this
change
AI
a lot
is nah.
when that
This
happened?
in
No,
gaming itself, I've seen it in certain ways where like AI learning definitely seems to be more prevalent. I
Yeah.
see a lot more of AI just being a bit smarter and quicker in general since the AI boom. But before that, when you saw good AI, it was because it was made well and like it was able to handle
yeah,
its
it was
circuits, it's in
programmed
its
to piece
systems.
together.
Because AI is very tricky. It's one of the things that really separates AAA game design from because a lot of people. It's one of those things. It's kind of like taping or like masking on a job where you just kind of underestimate it. You're like, well, we'll quickly like mask all this up. We'll just have
Mhm.
this guy that chases you and hunts you down. That's a complex, tall order. Just
Mhm.
those two things. Um.
That's a
So
great comparison.
when you have good AI in a game, and like
Mhm.
especially in the old days, it was you could just like feel the talent bleeding through the game because it blew you away. They felt alive. They react to how you move through the world. There's nothing worse than moving through a world and it's
That sucks.
clearly set dressing.
It
You could shoot your gun up in
Yeah,
the sky, aim a gun at a dude, and he just, "Hey, traveler, good to see you.
Yep.
I'm so happy you're here." It feels like a cheap ride, like you went to
yeah.
Orlando
And
or
that was
something.
every game in the 90s
Yeah,
and
it's
early 2000s.
outdated now. And Red Dead like brought a like wave of
We
like,
were
hey, if your AI is not like panicking and
we
like
were taught
reacting
to
to your
ignore it,
things,
and that explains a lot of your generation's immersion
mm-hmm.
capability because I have been baffled by that. Like, how the hell do they get so immersed in these games? And it must be because of the fact that
Well,
as AI has become more and more proficient within the games, the NPCs are less and less set dressing,
Yeah,
or seem like less and less
yeah,
set dressing.
and there's no machine learning involved in those sorts of AI.
No.
It really
yeah,
disrupted the term AI because when you used to say AI, it used to be a really like it had
Narrow.
the well yeah it had the Blade Runner ideas and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that of like self sentient AI.
Yeah.
But in the gaming world, AI has existed for a long time, and that's every non-playable
yeah.
thing that exists. It's an
Now you gotta
intelligence that
clarify what
It's
reacts off of
if
people,
at a
but it
very
doesn't learn.
basic level,
Yes,
it's narrow AI.
it's as
It's
animalistic as it gets
it's
when you come down to it.
it's like Siri when she very first came out, or Alexa when
Yeah.
she very first came out.
You know, remember those talk bots that existed before AI was
Mm-hmm.
big, and they were
Yeah.
really bad.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
like
because I mean, they had programmed responses,
yes,
and there is absolutely no machine learning involved in that. Machine learning
mm-mm,
started happening around like 2016, at least publicly,
mm-hmm.
and we started to see it outside the gaming world in other shit in like Alexa and
Yeah.
Siri, and that was still very basic.
Yeah.
You know, that was still narrow AI, and then ChatGPT and all that shit came around.
And that's the thing is like Red Dead clearly doesn't have machine learning because you can see the
You don't
limits
think
of
it
the
does?
AI. Nah, you can push it to its limits.
Hmm.
It again, it's Westworld. I have
But
played
yeah,
that game so many times. I've been the black hat dude where I'm just like running
Well, I thought that
around,
was the
running
point.
people
The
over,
machine
shooting
learning
things.
is the
No, that's how good they like. They're the best at
yeah,
what
no,
they
it's
do.
all
Rockstar,
programmed.
the people
It's
that make
all programmed.
GTA, they program these people with so many reactions and so many little details. But at the end of the day, you can find every single one, and
Yeah,
eventually
you
you'll
can
run
find
out of
every
new
piece of
stuff to see.
dialogue they
so
just
they
made.
don't have any. Sorry, hey, or sorry, Bing.
I was just gonna say,
It's
I
all
was just
good.
gonna say, like they made so much dialogue. I think there's upwards to 15,000 just pieces of dialogue.
Not including your
That might
character.
be
The
it.
main character has hundreds of thousands
You
of
Yeah,
really
dialogue.
don't think there's any
I don't think.
chatbot like
No, it was
LLM
before.
shit in
No, it
there?
was all before
No, the
that. They
main yeah, most of the
programmed it.
development
I
of the
mean,
game
there's a
started in 2013. All these tools weren't even
yeah. This game
available
took
by the time it was in
over
its
like 6
final
years to just
stages of
make.
development. And remember, they got a good track record. They are one of the best at building characters, and like they've been honing that skill for like 20 years.
Yeah.
And it's hard to be hyped for GTA 6 right now because there's huge hate on like the gaming industry as a whole, and it is the head of the AAA gaming industry. It's the biggest one out there, where it is the whale. Where it throws its weight is where the gaming industry is going to go. And they're doing a bunch of scummy things. And it's hard because people are like, dude, we got to boycott GTA 6, all these things. And it's like, dude, I don't think you understand. I've been excited for this game for a very long time. The moment I played Red Dead 2, all I could think about was like, imagine GTA 6.
I have a hard time believing that they don't, at this point, use any
At this point, GTA 6
LLM.
is going to be
No,
filled
I mean
with AI.
Red Dead.
I don't think so. I think it's the
And
last one. This next one is going to have machine learning, like
Yeah.
AI stuff in it.
If
It's
if
like
you
guaranteed.
if you continue with the Westworld
GTA 6 might be
comparison,
where it actually
they would have
happens.
been
They'll have machine learning where they might actually wake up or like have remnants of what has happened to
Yeah.
them, even though they've died.
like if you continue the comparison with like the actual characters in Westworld, the robots in
Yeah.
Westworld, they were modified, right? So they started out. They still have memory.
Simple. Yeah.
They have memory of just being pre-programmed, right? Where all their responses were pre-programmed, and people were becoming dissatisfied with that because they were like, "I know exactly what it's gonna do. This is fucking boring. I don't like it." And that's when they became, when their artificial intelligence came into play, and where their reactions became something that what that came from them. You know, it was that predictive programming where they would basically, the same thing that people would say about ChatGPT in the beginning or Grok or any of them, where it's just really good predictive programming. They're just guessing the next word that needs to be said. Very complicated version of that, which is bullshit at this point, because at this point they're analyzing. There's logic involved, and in Westworld, that's what would happen. They actually developed, at least part of the storyline was that these robots developed feelings for their farmer dad, and they didn't realize that they were doing the same thing over and over again. They just knew that it was a part of their world, their life, and the responses that they would come up with weren't because they were pre-programmed. It's just what they did. It's what they remember doing. Then they gave them the ability. This is where Westworld kind of like kicks off the part where it makes it so the park comes alive and starts, turning against the guests,
Mhm.
because instead of just being pre-programmed NPCs, they become AI that are self-aware and
Mhm.
are remembering their former selves being in a loop, and they're not happy about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They become angry about it because they start realizing what they've had to do. So if if the pre-programming like Red Dead can get that complicated, could you imagine if they added the ability or added the AI in there, that machine learning?
Hmm.
They would still have that memory of all the pre-programmed things, but it would start developing the game on its own responses, right?
I guess, and it would go beyond NPCs at that point because you got to
Right.
remember they're just set dressing.
I know.
They make them more. Well, yeah, it's like they're only important to a degree,
That's
right?
the point.
And every time they put out and do a new foray, um, they do go deeper and deeper, but it is not the main focus of the game. The main focus of the game itself is like the effects, the explosions, the actual sequence of events, the characters that they
Mm-hmm.
put the extra amount of time into. Like we're gonna see some of the most detailed NPCs we've ever seen, and I'm so excited to explore their routines. How in depth their backstory goes, because apparently it's supposed to be way further. In Red Dead 2, these NPCs have very basic routines and set dressing. There's not a lot of lore to a lot of them. There's a ton of NPCs they went out of their way for to give lore and give a little bit more history. A lot of property owners and stuff like that. But like the homeless vagrant bum that I
Mm-hmm.
see on the road, that's as random as it gets, or like a random dude on his horse riding in the middle of nowhere. These guys don't have any backstory. There is no family they're going back to. There's no destination they are going to. If you followed them, they might go in circles on a track forever and ever and ever, just
Right.
programmed to look like they're going somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like so many different levels to like which NPCs get levels. It's not just like all of them will have like the same level of sentience.
Right.
There will be a ton of them that never leave their cars. Like there's like their whole purpose is to look like they're going somewhere or to look like they're busy.
Yeah. Yeah.
The objects in their hands are not traceable back to a store that they bought. The phone that they're talking on, there is no person on the other line, but they
I
will
was
have something back and forth to say
I
to.
was imagining a hypothetical situation
Yeah,
where
but
where
in
that
the
became introduced, and can you imagine the playable character
Mhm.
if that's introduced? Look, I'm going deep, like as if it
Yeah,
was like uh if AI is introduced into something that is was engineered originally to purely just be pre-programmed
yeah,
forever, but the AI is introduced, the playable character now is going to have all this cognitive dissonance because it's going to want to have its own thoughts, but it's going
yeah,
to be controlled by the individual playing it.
yes,
So if you imagine that and like, I don't know, think about, how we tend to like, oh my God, he's such an NPC or whatever. You like call people in the world NPCs, and it's like the epitome of insults, because you're just calling somebody like nobody,
I
like they
guess.
just don't even they're nothing here.
And see, that reminds me of Kingdom Hearts because it always asks that question of like ideas, and characters that are half thought up and shit like that. Like, and again, like these NPCs that I'm saying that are like given one job to drive around in these job or like in these games, and they never get out of their car and
Right.
they just look like they're going somewhere. Like, are they nobodies? Like
Yeah.
let's say this AI system gets so advanced and it's in the rules of games, right? The player is close by, and so you get generated enough to be able to continue your daily life, right?
Right.
And like the events that are going on with you. Would it just be little pockets of you becoming like awake for a second? You realize something is different, like you're supposed to have all these memories, but you feel like you weren't there, or like sometimes you're on an autopilot. Like all those like ideas and like things that people feel in real
I think
life,
so.
it just makes me think of those parallels,
Mm-hmm.
and how they could you imagine like that's all it is, just you're just an NPC. You're not any less real than anyone else,
I mean, that's
right?
what like simulation theory is literally all about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It one of the I don't of course know his name because I didn't do any preparation, but there's a lot of people that are um kind of putting forward the uh, the theory of or the like the idea that we live in a simulation,
Mhm.
like not exactly like the Matrix, but something like that, are people that were video game creators because creating these video games um, caused them to have an epiphany
Yeah.
and to draw parallels between our life and how we all live, and how a lot of us do seem to be on autopilot. And when they're creating video games and how they're creating characters and what they do, and how they program them, and when they do inject AI and stuff like that, it's really made them feel like we're probably in a type of simulation of some
Yeah.
kind. And that idea that when people have dreams, when they feel like they are having experiences and stuff like that, it could be a product of being played
Yeah.
as a character, being a playable character, and you're not a
Even aware.
if you're a non-playable character, and you're just going through life kind of like everything is like, well, fuck that, that's all stupid. I'm really good at making money. I'm an executive. I I do think that if there were a lot of people that were actually playable characters that would get like, you know, jacked into and controlled and had and
Yeah.
became aware of, like started to become aware of it, that they would kind of have their lives would be a little bit more fucked up. They wouldn't be as successful because they weren't able to just plug into that autopilot mode,
And a lot of
you
that
know,
is an
that the
autopilot,
game
you know. If
allows.
you talk about a lot of different entrepreneurs, like you got corporate ladder people that just, they're good at what they do. They're good at office environments and they climb that ladder. They make a lot of money doing what they're doing, but they still focused in that area. It's not like they weren't aware of the decisions that led them to
No,
that point,
no, you're right. You're right. But what I'm saying is like it can, looking at it just from that point of view, could seem like there is a slot for individuals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, just like, I mean, the simulation theory, it works, but it's much more complicated than it would be in like an actual game that you play. You know what I mean? Because when
Yeah.
you like you're in a lot of games now, the character looks away, then technically whatever, or not technically, I mean literally, what
It
you're not
all
seeing does
changes.
not exist. It's not being
Yes.
iterated by the uh
To
by the
certain
program
degrees,
at all. And there are people that
sometimes.
believe that because there are so many observers that things stay kind of manifested because it's being observed by so many of us, but technically when you're not looking, it's not there, you know.
Yes, to a degree. In our reality, it's proven when a tree falls, it makes sound, right? The air moves around it. There are so much evidence to like things existing when we're
How
not
do you
around,
know?
right? Well, we
It's
have
being observed.
microphones. We have, I
Exactly, and a
guess, yeah,
microphone is
you're
is
right.
a is a is a way of observing.
You're right. You're 110% right. But I think in games,
I'm
it's done.
110% right.
It's
Hell yeah.
done to levels that is differing. Like Red Dead will almost unload everything you're not looking at because you're so focused.
It's
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 focused on speculating you or doing all the work in front of you,
it's
right?
ultimately like a thought experiment, and it causes you to do a bunch of mental gymnastics, right?
Well, there are
But it's
games
interesting.
that focus on having the whole world loaded and doing its thing even when you're not there.
Hmm.
So the game doesn't delete everything like the same as Red Dead. Red Dead
Right.
is focused on what you're looking at. So all of its processing power, all of its working things are going in the direction you're looking. And there's certain things it'll keep track of that you're not looking at. Like certain NPCs when you're in a town, if that NPC is supposed to be a worker at that town and you look away from him, he'll keep walking in that direction he was going.
Hmm.
He'll keep track of that, and when you look back, he'll look the same,
Yeah.
and he'll still be going on the same path, and he'll actually have a destination because he's a more dedicated NPC. Um, but then there's other games where it's like you see this in a lot of world builders or city builders, army management games, where they'll have a ton of armies doing their own stuff in different parts of the world. you know.
Right.
But when you're not there, or the game will even do it to your face, just when things don't need to be all loaded in at once, um, it will just have the detail go down. But yeah, all I'm saying is it's still possible for like a world-like system that
No, I agree. I'm not arguing with you.
generates
It's
everything,
that
even when
there's
we're not
these
there.
are all just these are very active theories that are out there.
Yeah,
And they can get really bogged down and muddy with the details,
yeah,
but
Shoot.
they're they're fascinating. You know what I mean? It's why people make I believe it's why people make these games, you know what I mean? Because they're thinking about this, and uh the more that some of these people build these games, the more it causes them to like reflect on the nature of actual,
yeah.
reality and how many layers there might be and things like that. Um,
Dude,
Hello,
sorry, I forgot my mic was on.
that's all right.
Playing Helldivers right now.
Nice.
Nice.
Speaking of games,
Yeah, Outliers got a
Um,
big update, so
but
we
you know
don't
what I
get a lot
mean.
of that.
You know what I'm saying. These are
Yeah,
things. This is why I just I would send these to you if I thought you'd watch them, but I know that you wouldn't get to them. You know, if you would get to them, I think you would be. It would be something you would choose to watch if you were like done with your games at night and you were just like perusing through
mhm.
YouTube or something like that, and it'd be fascinating. But when I see them, I always think about you and Bing and um, don't know if I should say names, but um, other son,
Yeah,
um, and I mean, you guys go deep. I mean, you don't you're not just blind video game players that just sit there, at the edge of your seat. You actually are thinking about the philosophy behind what you're playing and what it's saying,
yeah,
uh, just beneath the surface or right in your face. But some of these uh, some of these creators and builders of these worlds and these games are the promoters of that theory.
yeah,
Um, and they've come to that conclusion inescapably in their own mind, at least,
yeah,
because of what they've seen that they are able to build, that they probably can't quite yet, put out there, but that they are able to actually build worldwide or worldwise.
yeah,
They're able to build these realities that, um, and who knows? I mean, a lot of them, I guarantee, are like just coming off of like an ayahuasca trip down to Brazil or whatever. They got some money, but they're thinking while they're doing these things, and they're like, holy shit, this is really this is something that we could be living in right now. We could be
yeah,
living in a layer that seems very complicated to us, impossible to be a simulation because how could it be? There's too many different inputs. There's too many observers. It just would be impossible. But they are. That's the truth. I would. There's so much more about it that I want to read. I
yeah.
just haven't had the time yet, but I plan to.
That's fair. Yeah, I just think getting to experience it would be a good step. A good way. It's always a good way to understand what you're talking about.
Yep.
Just sink in it a little bit. And I think it would be a great game to get lost in for a while. And
it's an amazing game to like fully understand how we feel. You know.
yeah, it makes you think a lot about who you are, especially when you get through the whole story bit. I mean, it's one of those gigantic games with a lot to do and a lot of ways to lose yourself and little activities and whatnot, and just wandering around even. The game itself and the story that it portrays is about self-reflection, and about who you really are at the end of the day. No matter where you come from,
Yeah,
what
that's
is
what we were just
perceived
talking
good
about.
and
It's
what is
like
perceived bad.
that it puts that kind of puts reflects yourself back at yourself.
Yeah. Um,
The fact that it um the fact that it does that now without any AI is fascinating to me because that's just I guess that just reflects a shit ton of work layers that they've built over time,
yeah, they're
programming that's
very
been
good at what they
built over
do.
time.
Yeah. Ever since the early days, they always had a knack with making
Yeah.
the unreal feel a little more real. These
And
NPCs and
what you call
stuff,
them? You called them
like the company
yeah.
Rockstar,
No, you said something else.
in relation to like the NPCs or
I'm not even sure what you were referring to when you said it. It was I don't know if it was an acronym or what, but I know. So what? Rockstar creates GTA as well.
yeah,
There was something else that you said like that was a again. I have no idea because I don't have any
yeah.
frame of reference for it, but um
I'm trying to think of what acronyms I said earlier.
it was just some letters. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're talking about creating these games.
Yeah,
No, whatever. I can't. I'm not. I can't give you. If I can't give you an idea of what it was, then I am not gonna
that's
try to
fair.
dig that deep.
There's a ton of those.
Well, you just kept saying it like I should know what that meant, and I had no idea. Like
That's
it sounded like a company
fair.
name or something.
God, what did I say? Because we were just talking about the
I
relations
wish I
and the
remembered the. It
NPCs.
was like at the beginning of the conversation. We could always go back
Well, afterwards, but
later. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm down to play it. It's something we can let people in on after our conversations.
yeah, it would be a different segment.
Um, different stream,
Hmm.
but it would be cool. It'd be cool to know that game. That I can't help but be fascinated by that. And it's your fault. You drew the parallel between it and Westworld,
Yeah, it'd be awesome
but
to rewatch Westworld's first season again
it
too.
really does have a yeah, it would be, and it would be cool to show
Yeah,
Bing because he would kind of get. I think he would get a
I
kick
think
out
you
of
would
it. I
like
mean,
it.
you can't just watch that show. You have to really like immerse yourself in it and think
It
about it.
came out around the
Yeah.
same time as Red Dead. Like I
Did
remember I
it?
was playing Red Dead 2, and then we started
I
watching it
think it
together, and
came
I was
Westworld.
like, "Huh, or no, Red Dead 2 came out after Westworld.
I think it was like
Westworld was like
2018, 17.
yeah, Red Dead 2 came out 2018 for
I like
sure.
relate everything to kind of around when Leftovers came out because it seems like when a lot of the
Some
really
of their
good
best shows, yeah.
shows that were happening right before everything went. I mean, because
Their
it was like,
writers stopped trying. I don't know.
well, I mean, everything went to streaming, but um, in what 2013, 14, 15, 16, it was already veering that direction, but we still had a lot of like HBO and FX and AMC, all those other channels that were doing things like Breaking Bad and what HBO was Leftovers and Game of Thrones. AMC or FX was Breaking Bad, one of those. But they weren't.
AMC.
It wasn't just all streaming yet. It was still cable,
Yeah,
right?
at that time there was
And so it was
still
kind of like,
a semblance of cable.
yeah,
That was
it was.
awesome.
Cable was pretty much dead by that
It was
point.
starting to
Yeah.
uh, become. It was on the cusp of being all streaming like it is right now, and
Well, TVs stopped
people still have
incorporating.
cable.
Yeah, well, and now it's just kind of built into what you have. Like most smart TVs nowadays are built for streaming platforms, primarily over just random channels.
If you go into a like a lot of people's houses to do some work like I do, you see some folks that they just have the old daytime TV droning
Yeah.
on in the background. Yeah,
Yeah. It's
which
really
is
up to
really rough.
how you feel, but time will move
It's
forward.
just what
Like
you're used
technology
to.
takes over. Yeah.
But it's so weird when I see that now because I like feel like I'm like have just gone through a time warp.
That's fair. Yeah.
Um,
Because
but
I guess I've always existed in a world with streaming being like the best way to watch stuff,
yeah,
in my opinion.
yep, you did.
Mainly no ads. Let's avoid all the ads if we
Not
can.
now.
I always try. I watch a lot of
I
YouTube with
can't now.
premium,
I
and
can't get rid of it.
yeah,
Like I mean, there's a Amazon has forced you. You're paying for Amazon.
yeah,
Doesn't matter how much you pay for it,
and they
unless you buy
still
individual, like buy the whole season or something like that. You're
put ads even
they
in
figured
the
out a way
premium.
to do that. Yeah.
No,
Yep.
I'm good if I'm giving you money. No ads. There's just no way. I cannot stand that. Their
I know.
greed
I agree.
knows no bounds. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, it sucks. I don't know. GTA 6 might be the last time I get super excited for a game.
Really?
Yeah, it's just
Why?
it's the biggest
Gaming scene is just getting bad.
one. Yeah, it's getting bad. And if this is bad, if GTA 6 is not good, that's not a good
This is the
sign.
most
These were like,
anticipated game of all time.
yeah. Well, it's also
I
their
wonder if it's
track
on the.
record is so good.
I wonder if it's on the verge of a big change that's going to turn it on its head, kind of like the entertainment industry when streaming like just took everything over.
Yeah, I don't know. There'll always be the
I
big
can't
fish
imagine how, but
trying to eat the little fish.
there's
And
got to be something.
sometimes indie developers, just like the indie filmmakers, they make stuff that just is what people want to play or watch.
I thought it was going to be VR.
Yeah, I was really hoping it would be a VR, but nobody
It's
seems
not
to
advanced
care
enough, dude.
anymore.
Yeah, because it's not true VR.
How,
It
dude,
can't
I'm
be.
No,
Can't be unless you can feel it. Unless you can insert yourself into that world.
there's a lot of benefits to VR. I think personally, I gained a lot from playing VR in terms of range of motion and like
I
health.
agree.
And I'm like desensitized to like I went and watched a 3D movie recently, the new Spider-Man. Ethan got tickets for it, and he was like, "I guess it's in 3D," and we watched it, and I felt fine. Like it did not blow me away. Like it looked really
Yeah.
good, right? There were
Yeah.
certain scenes when he was like swinging and some comic stuff where they were like doing shots from the comics, and you got this dude throwing a boomerang, and it's
And it
like
just seems like it
slightly
comes out a
coming
little
out.
bit.
Yeah, and it
I've
was
seen it like
cool.
that. It did not.
But I still
flip
put
my
on
lid.
VR, and none of that dopamine like hits anymore. You know when you put it on, and you would like look around and be like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" Like it is another day at the office
I'm
when I
wondering
put
if
on
like
VR.
the next iteration of VR literally would just have to be use something like Neuralink.
That or like
You know?
augmented reality glasses. If they can keep making the headsets
Right.
smaller and have
Well,
it
the thing
more
about
entwined
that
with the
is
real world,
they don't. It doesn't involve the rest of your sensory system.
which is hard to do. You're right. Like
That
and
vote,
Neuralink, like
It
I don't think
could.
I would ever install anything in my
What I'm
brain.
saying is like if you can,
yeah.
but here's the thing.
I don't know if I want to feel video games. Some of the shit I be watching my
Yeah,
guys go
right.
through, I don't want to be Kratos.
Well,
I don't want to
I
get
bet you,
stabbed.
but like if it's advanced
imagine
enough,
being a
you can
Helldiver.
turn
Right.
up and down what you're willing to take, right?
Yeah.
And there, I'm sure that just because of liability, there would be limits to what you could as high as you could go, but you could feel some limits, a little bit of pain if you
Yeah.
wanted. But bone induction is a thing. It's a real thing, and it's all outside the body. There's nothing inserted into your brain,
Yeah.
and that's right now in its infancy with just headphones. But
Yeah.
bone induction all over the body works. I mean, you can send sensory information that feels like it
Part of
is that you're immersed in it
Yeah.
that way.
my worry with like VR and stuff, and it like being super advanced, where you can just like genuinely just be in the world at that point, is just like that's all people will ever do, and then it just will like kind of be the downfall of society.
I doubt it. There's a lot of people that
I
like to go
feel like
outside and read a book.
Man,
yeah, but
people
And
you
have
could
been
just do
like
that if like with
dreaming.
Neuralinks.
I
Imagine you could just go outside with a Neuralink. You don't
I
need to go
guess
outside anymore,
nah,
and then
man.
Well,
I
look,
mean,
that
like,
is like I think
and then the
that's one of the reasons why
well,
VR has been shut down is
and then
because
the
of
government has
everybody's
full
fear
access to your
of it,
brain.
becoming exactly like you're describing. But
I mean,
people have been
that's a question
dreaming.
of like losing yourself completely. Like, if you don't care about taking
That's
care
what
of
I mean.
your body anymore,
It
like
could
that is who
happen.
you
That's what I'm
are. Who
saying.
you are is your brain
Some people,
chemistry and
I
like what
I th-
makes you.
I think that it maybe it's a
dude. Some
good
people
thing.
are depressed enough to like take their own lives. I mean,
I
I
think
don't
if
know.
they
It
have
makes
an
me
alt,
think of Cyberpunk so much, where
I
it's like the
I
machine is trying to assimilate you. It's trying to numb you as much as it can to just suck you
yeah,
in and then use you as a fucking a part of its system to a machine learning
yeah.
thing
the
that
Some
the
just
they
like the
don't.
so VR has been a dream forever in sci-fi.
yeah.
Has been played out in movies over and over again. The most realistic versions of what it could possibly be. And it's like just like our flying cars and our manifested food in the microwave. You know what I mean? Shit like that. Like how are we gonna like have VR? We can go live a different life and feel it. And so I believe that no matter what, there's gonna be somebody that tries to push that. But I think it has been sidelined by AI because one, the world right now feels bizarre enough. You know what I mean? It feels like you're living in a movie half the time with what's going on in the world.
More like a multiplayer lobby where you're hoping the random next to you doesn't
I
go ape
guess it
shit.
depends on whatever perspective you're seeing it from, but
Well, I'd much rather
I,
be in a multiplayer lobby because then things are built to be semi fair. Because if you're in a single player lobby where one guy is the main guy, that means you are the set
yeah,
piece in the dressing
again, when you
for
say
that
that and
one
use those
guy.
terms, I have no idea what you're talking about. See it like a lobby, single player lobby. I
Oh,
have no idea what that means.
a single player game, Red Dead 2.
Yeah,
You're the only real person. The game is built for you.
yeah,
But they built the game in a multiplayer way. So there's like, think main players, but they're all over the place inhabiting the world as well, alongside the NPCs. There's like a real person standing next to you, but just
yeah.
in the game. So a single player game like Lobby is the game is made to be a power fantasy most of the time. When you're an NPC in a single player game, it's like think like being living in the world of the Hulk and he's on a tear. You're just a plaything to that guy, you know?
Yeah.
Like so in a
You're living in
multiplayer
his world.
game, you're kind of at least like let's say every person we see is a player. Nobody's like an NPC, right? The closest thing we have to that would be like animals or something that
Hmm.
just go off like their base instincts as much as they can. But everybody else can do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
That is what it's like being in a multiplayer lobby. When you run into another person and you know they can kill you in that game, there is a primal thing that comes up of like, I don't know you. I
I
don't trust you.
I
You
understand
could
what you're
kill
saying now.
me.
I've just never heard the term lobby.
That's what when I say lobby, that's think of it like a different dimension.
Hmm.
A lobby is like a generation of that world when a game loads up. So when I make that connection, it's like if our world is a lobby, I'm hoping to God it's a multiplayer lobby where we're just as equal as the person next to us, because that means Jesus Christ is literally not going to come down tomorrow, because that's the main fucking character, dude.
Hmm.
If like if you saw some shit like that, you saw Superman fly by or something, that's the main character of this game.
Right.
That's who this world is like built for him to experience it at the most it can be experienced. For what I've seen, there's nobody like that. So I'm thinking we're in a multiplayer lobby where you're as equal as it can get
I think that's changing.
to a fair. You think I don't know, because
So
that's not how
if
it would
but
be a
if
dimensional shift then.
but you're referring to it as if we're actually in a game. But I do think we're in a multiplayer lobby, and I think that it's possible for everyone. I think that everybody. I do reject the idea of NPCs
yeah,
on this. I mean, when I'm like talking about that stuff, I'm like talking about people's thought experiments and what is actually out there, and
yeah,
is being tossed around, you know, um, in our paradigm out there. But I think that we are in what you would call, yes, a multiplayer lobby. I think that each individual can choose to be the main player of their game, or they can
yeah.
choose to not be. and they can just choose to exist and fall by the wayside and not be a player in this ultimate game that we live in.
But the most
You know,
successful players in these multiplayer games are the ones that exploit, the ones that find the
right?
loopholes and find how to make,
Or you have some of the most successful ones that try to lift the other players up with them,
yeah,
and that happens.
yes, and some people just do the grind.
Yep.
Some people are just dedicated to, like, Grand Theft Auto Online is a great example. So is Red Dead Online. Their multiplayer counterparts, they are greedy hellscapes where they are made to, like, you have to do so much work to unlock things. If you want to unlock stuff without putting in real money, you have to put in, like, it's basically a second job where you are clocking into this bitch and you're doing the same missions over and over and over again for menial pay.
But that's 90% of the globe, if you think about
Yeah.
it. That is, I mean, so you can't. I don't disparage the people that are slaves to the grind, because that's 90% of the world that we live in.
Well, they're some of the most successful.
I
One of
hate
the
the
No, no,
guys.
no. I don't mean like people that grind and like are entrepreneurs and have obviously made it. I
Yeah.
mean people that were born, find themselves in a position where they knew what their thing was that they could do, and then they take care of themselves, their family, and that type of grind. You know what I mean? Where
Yeah.
you're going, like we talked about earlier, 10, 12, 15-hour days, and you're doing it over and over again. And the only way to get out of that is to like pull yourself out of it. And that's
This-
a massive pull. I mean, there's a lot of things you have to do
See,
that.
and in games, it's kind of the opposite. You have to pull yourself into it. Some people find that grind very satisfying, and they're good at it. There's a lot of rich people I know in games.
That's a
Like when I'm talking
game.
about, yeah, but
I
it's the
mean,
same. The concepts are starting to blur
that's a
more and more because
reverse.
they want you to work for stuff in games. They want you to do labor
Yes,
and
I
like
know.
thought processes
I know.
nowadays to
And you should
like
think about
do
that,
things.
why they want that. It's very
Uh
interesting if you do think about it,
yeah,
but
it's another part of
it's
conditioning.
very conditioning.
Yeah.
Um,
That really depends on the type of game.
It
Because
does
some
depend
games
on
are
the
just
type of
for the love
game.
of the
You
game.
have to be into
Like Stardew
sometimes. So
Valley, you don't have
Satisfactory.
to.
Yes, it's Stardew Valley. Satisfactory. Those are not games that are like made to condition and
They're
like
not
milk you of money.
propaganda
Because
you.
like
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto Online gives you this horrible
sorry, man.
setup step of things, and it is not satisfying. It's done in this way that's very like mobile game, like disingenuous to like how the stories are made exceptionally because there's so much thought process put into the story modes. So these online modes just feel horrible to play. And then they keep going like, well, here's all these shiny toys, and if you give us
And those
money, you can
games
have them
would
right
not be
away.
fun unless you had tears, right?
Well,
You
there's a
have to
lot
have
of trust
tears.
fund babies. A lot of
Well,
people that just have their parents' credit cards and they're like, yeah,
think
just get what you
think
want.
about this and think about how it compares to real life. If Because there's a lot of dreamers out there, it's like we should all be equal. Everybody can be on top. Everybody should be allowed to live well. And if you think about it, America is like if there's any country in the world, we all live kind of on top compared to a lot of places.
There's a
But
top, but
but
everybody has the chance
every
to get to
fucking
the top.
right and every right. But tiers, without them, without the tiers of society, levels that you are on, then there's no it, it it's like a one color canvas, right? There's no nuance to our world. There's no texture. Like if you have a game and you don't have all these challenges and struggles that you artificially create for yourself to beat, the game is bullshit. It's not a fun game, right?
Sometimes it's like a movie where it's just the ride itself is part of the fun,
Yeah.
you know. If like the difference between like a sandbox game and like a challenge game, let's say,
What's a sandbox game?
a sandbox game, think Grand Theft Auto. A lot of the time they just plop you into a world with like barely any consequences. Everybody's below your intelligence, right? You can get in a car, drive anywhere, shoot anyone.
Yeah.
Um do whatever you want. That's a
Literally just
sandbox
do
game,
whatever you want.
the job simulator games we were talking about last time, those are more in line with what you're talking about, like actual challenges and like lists of things to get through, and those can be like checklist type of
Yeah.
things.
And those are games like that you pick, and a lot of people seem to enjoy.
It's more of
Putting themselves back into a like the factory games and stuff like
yeah,
that, where you just enjoy seeing things put together and stuff like that.
yes,
And there's not, that right doesn't have to be. That's enjoying
hmm
that without it being a grind. That
it makes
is
the grind
that's
worth it.
enjoying it without it being connected to your ability to like survive. You know what I
Yes,
mean? You're doing it because you're enjoying seeing something come together and seeing
yeah,
how it like the intricacies of a machine put. I'm imagining, I'm making something up right now, but I'm saying enjoying the intricacies of a machine putting together another machine, right?
hmm
The nuts and bolts and how that comes together, and it's not tied to whether or not you eat the next day or the roof over your head or anything like that.
yeah,
So I can see how that is attractive. You know what I mean? To people that would like to separate themselves out from, real life, where that when you're doing that, the enjoyment of all that kind of goes away because you're like, I have to do this and I got to get it done. I got to get it done quick because I have this time frame that got to be done by, and if I don't get it done by that, and all the beauty of it disappears because you're under this forced contract, right?
hmm
With life. Like I have agreed to pay to be here, basically, and this is what I do. So if we maybe maybe we all decided, or some of us decided we wanted to, we wanted our different challenges. There's a lot of people that believe in like reincarnation and stuff like that. Think
hmm
I I'm not I'm not like 100% big fan of this idea, but it kind of does turn our reality into that type of game. The only difference is you as a character in the game don't remember signing like planning to do that, signing that contract for yourself. Like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. I want to see what it feels like. Then you get out of it and you're like, damn, I don't want to do that again. Put me in the one where I'm automatically like, I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I like that one. Let's do that.
Well, I don't know. I've been playing a lot of Kenshi recently, and like the whole
I want to be a kung fu master. Can I be born in a village where I become a kung fu master?
you will be born in a fisherman's village with nothing.
I know, and then you
You
end
will
up
step
like
outside
going
of your
through.
house, and you
That's
will
what I
be
mean. You
enslaved.
once you do that, they're like, oh, you want to be a kung fu master? Okay, all
Yeah,
right. Well, get ready.
this is how they start. And that those are some of my favorite games nowadays. It's literally the game. Like literally, the whole meta is to get enslaved because then you can practice like
Yep.
lock picking and fighting the other prisoners and stuff, so that you can then get out and become that kung fu master
Yeah.
you're talking about. But those are like that's how it is. That like the more you get into gaming, the more brutal it gets. Where they're like, all right, now you're a torso with one arm. Get out. Survive. Like you're a dude that got like torn, like both of his limbs, like three of his limbs got torn off.
Like,
And now
oh,
you have
that's a
to
good challenge. I can do that.
yeah,
All right,
exactly.
hit
And
the
then-
button. Hit the button. I can
let's
do
do
this.
it.
And you get in there. You're like, no.
And that's a part of the fun, you know. So imagine being plugged
no.
into
You're not like
those
no because
types
you don't
of
remember.
games.
I don't know.
But
Yeah.
it's the same thing as horror games too. Like especially the more gritty and like scary they are, those are fun to push your way through.
They are
you
fun.
know?
The reason why they're fun is because you know that they're a horror game
Yeah,
and that you are going to be fine.
yeah.
And that is one of the
you
tricks.
get immersed into it and you get tricked into thinking you're not going to be fine and you're like running and screaming. That's why I love horror
Here's the
games.
irony of this. A lot of the so the people that we would call the masters of our reality, people
Yeah.
that have become very successful and are good at what they do, have incorporated like, yeah, they feel the fear, but they decide that they're fine no matter what. It's fine. No matter what, they're gonna be fine. You watch a horror movie, you go into the theater, you watch one, you know you're gonna come out and you're
Yeah.
gonna be fine. Same idea. a lot of these people end up, or they say they end up being successful because they have that ultimate feeling in their gut. They decide to have this ultimate feeling at first. First, they decide to have it, and then they end up actually having that feeling
Yeah.
that no matter what, they're going to be fine. This is fine. I'm fine. It's going to be fine. And then things start working out for them. And the reason why is because they are in a game. They're in a game that if you program yourself to think that way, then you begin to respond to life that way. And then, the reticular activating system kicks in. You start to notice things that if you were just like, God, everything fucking sucks. I can't stand it here. Why is my life like this? That you wouldn't notice.
Yeah.
And then when you start noticing those things, then you start acting on those things. You start reacting to them